Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Stay at Home Bookkeeper podcast, where we do real talk. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything in between in building your work from home business. And today is a powerful conversation. We talk about marketing, we talk about the mindset of how to communicate your services as a new business owner, and we talk a little bit about going back to the basics whenever you are starting your marketing journey and just finding joy in the process of building your business. You're not going to want to miss this episode, so stay tuned and we will see you inside the episode.
Behind every successful business is a story. You all know that. There's always one of courage, creativity, and taking control of your future. This is the Stay at Home Bookkeeper podcast, where we do real talk, where we really share real stories, real struggles, and real successes of people who built freedom-based businesses. So if you're ready to design a business that fits your life, or maybe it's scaling your existing business and you want to hear real talk from those doing it already, you are in the right place. And I'm very excited today to have a very special friend here joining Emily and myself, Dolores Hirschman. Dolores, how are you today?
I am so happy to be here, Deanna and Emily. It's so fun.
I love it. And just so that you know, I was begging and pleading Dolores to come and speak because she's just amazing at all things when it comes to brand awareness, when it comes to like perfecting your talk, marketing. She owns multiple businesses. She has trained thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs out there. She really knows how to get people to really build their business. And so, Dolores, I just want to thank you again for showing up here today with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Emily, let's dive in. What do you think?
So our audience is a mix of folks who either are starting their business from the ground up, have zero experience in building a business marketing, and we have people in our audience as well who maybe they have an existing business but haven't scaled it quite yet to where they want to be. But I want to start with our newbie friends. A big question we get, or a big thought, is fear. I am scared to put my new business out there. It's a brand new business. Maybe I don't have clients yet. I'm scared. I don't even know where to start having conversations and putting my name in my business. So what thoughts do you have for somebody who's brand new looking to build and is just in that new phase of, where do I begin?
Yeah. So a business is nothing but a way to monetize someone giving someone else value. So first, let's unpack what a business is. It's not like I'm taking your money it's like I come here to serve, and in exchange of that serving you and solving your problem, whatever way, I get paid. And so for those that are just starting and there's fear, it's like, think about it. Like if you were to go and help a friend, would you be afraid of that? No. Like if you go and offer someone a suggestion or someone, to assist with something, would you be afraid of that? No. So if you just change the thinking process and say, I am here to help with a skill set, maybe it's a new skill set, but it's guaranteed that it's more than someone else that doesn't have it at all. Like if you're here to serve and help someone with your skill set, put yourself out there in that way. Nobody or no normal person would expect you to support them in their business, whether as a bookkeeper, as a marketer, as a professional services, for exchange of nothing. So literally, if you just show up to a call and say, tell me how I can support you, and that person shares that, the next and you say, well, I can help you with that in that way. The next question they're going to ask you is, well, what does it look like? What the investment looks like? They're going to ask you to charge them. You don't even have to push it. So just reverse the thinking. You are not taking their money. They're saying yes to you helping them. And I believe as a service professional, there's no biggest honor than someone else trusting you with their pain point or their problem.
That's beautiful. And Deanna, I love how it seems every question we're trying to solve for our students, it always comes down to mindset, right?
Yep.
About how you think about it, how you how we turn what we're scared of into, we're just here to provide a service. I love that. We're a helper. That's a great thought. And so let's say we've got to that stage, we're starting to feel a little bit brave. There's so much out there, so many things to get started with, whether, you got to pick your business name, but then am I going to go to social media? Am I going to go find a networking group? Do I need to start posting videos of myself? How can a new bookkeeper, a new business owner center themselves on a few most important things to get their name out as a new business?
Yeah. So there's the easy way, and then there's the hard way, and then there's the fancy
Let's hear them
way,
all.
the
Do it all,
fancy
Dolores.
way, and the fashionable way, and the Instagram way. My answer would be, I don't care how you do it, but go get me 5 clients in the first month. And so what I would say to a client is like, what is fun for you? For some people, they're very social butterflies. They're out and about all day long, going, to events or food shopping or any PTO event. They're first in line, right? They're out there anyway. That's who they are.
Mm.
And so all I'm going to ask them is like, I don't even care if you don't have a name yet. You can even use that as an icebreaker. It's like, hey, Mary, I haven't seen you in a while. I have a question for you. I have a new business. I don't have a name, but this is what I do. I help people doing this. What name should I call it?
Mm.
Just by doing that way in very organic, progress over perfection, all you want is how many conversations can you start as soon as possible where someone's going to say, oh, what you're offering can help me or my cousin or my friend or my neighbor. Like whether you are in a room with other moms in playgroup, or you are posting in social media, or you pay a boatload of money to be on a stage, the outcome of any of those rooms is always the same. How can I go to a conversation that can turn into a sales event, into a closing a client? So it's all about how many conversations can I start. And so then if that's the goal, then I would ask, anybody at any phase of their business, what is the easiest way for you to have conversations with potential clients? And so if someone is super high tech and loves Instagram and it's already there, go there. If that's something that scares you, by no means don't go there, because that's not the point. The point is to get conversations, not to get a fancy Instagram account.
Mhm.
And a lot of people confuse the how with the what. I don't care how you do it. I just care what you end up doing.
That is interesting. It's all about volume, concentrated volume, not
Yes.
about all
In
the
an
different
easy way, in the fastest, easiest way, because if you choose a path for that outcome that is new to you, scary to you, now you're going to make it all about, well, but I'm scared about speaking, then don't speak.
That's so simple.
I love
Just
that.
don't. Just pick something else.
Put
I
a
love that.
billboard like Deanna does. Put a billboard. Like, or I'm scared. I don't know. The only thing that I say you cannot not do is you cannot not get a client.
There you
I
go.
mean, I tell people all the time, like, you joke about the billboard, but I do. I do billboards. I wear swag. I wear swag for my businesses no matter where I go because it's a talking point. Like, if you don't feel comfortable initiating that conversation, they're probably going to ask me, like, oh, I see you have Rogers Bookkeeping on your shirt. Like, what is that? Tell me more. It's like someone asking you, like, hey, you stay next to your child, like, oh, this is your child. Well, yes, this is my child. And then you start automatically just talking about your kid, right? Like, it just becomes automatic. And I think it's the same thing when you're talking about your business. It should just come natural. And what you said, Dolores, it's really got to be your talk. I do want to ask you that because this is something that you coach on is perfecting your talk, right?
Yeah.
So I want to dig in on that just a little bit because I think that the people that are listening here today, Emily and I see this a lot. They're like, again, I don't know how to say, or I feel awkward when I'm saying it, when I'm trying to pitch myself. So what are some tips and pointers here that you can give people when they go to that PTO, when they go to that business meeting that they can use about themselves and their business?
Yeah. First of all, don't talk about yourself.
Don't do it.
Talk about the people you are proud to have helped.
Mhm.
So if you're in a business, it's like, obviously someone said, what do you do? Well, I help. Let me give you an example because it's easier. marry my client. She was my neighbor. She had an ice cream shop and she was losing money every month. So I went in, sat in her kitchen for an hour, and I helped her with some basic bookkeeping things. I'm just making it up. And now she's making $10,000 a month. So it's about, yes, talking about yourself and talk about your work, but through strategic, intentional storytelling. And when you infuse in that storytelling the story of someone else you've helped, and the more you can be, you can be smart. Like if you're talking to in a room and you've helped a few people and you're talking to, I don't know, a person who has an auto repair shop, who would I find here, right? That does that. Um, or someone has, I don't know, a coaching business. Try to match the story you're going to tell as much as you can with the audience of one or audience of many, that might kind of see themselves in the story.
Hmm.
What you want is for someone to say, "Oh, wait, I'm kind of that person. Can you help me too?"
Can you put a creative spin on it though for somebody who maybe does not have a client yet? Let's say, for example, they're going to their very first, we do lots of BNI meetings. We recommend that to our students. And you got to get up and have 40 seconds to present yourself. And the biggest fear people have is, I don't have clients yet. So how do I do that? How would you position that when you don't
Yeah.
quite have a story yet?
So a client is someone you've helped solve a problem.
Okay.
Chances are, whether they pay you or not, that's your business.
Mm,
And so chances are, if you're in a BNI group and you call yourself, let's say, a coach or a bookkeeper, you've probably helped your sister, cousin, child, neighbor with their numbers, or at least your husband or your wife. Like you've looked at some numbers and you practice your skills with someone's numbers. So most of us, as we come through a training and become certified in something, even our practice becomes our pretend clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes your playground, that becomes your experience.
and
One of the
how
things,
would you suggest, I guess, building up that skill? So I love that idea. You want to talk about the person that you're helping, talk about the story, share the problem that you solved. Do you suggest practicing? How do we build up that muscle to help get through the nerves before you're about to present?
so okay. So, and you're saying present directly. So first of all, one of the things I teach is a framework on how to write your signature talk. And I
Okay.
call it a paint by numbers process.
Okay.
It's almost like a paint by numbers process because once you understand the steps into a talk or a pitch, and it's like buckets, like I have to find this clarity and this clarity and this clarity, and put it together, it's a talk. So having a way to structure your message goes a long way towards building that confidence because you're not longer having thoughts. So without a structure, you have thoughts, all of your emotions, which is mostly fear, um, and I've never done this before kind of
Mhm.
mindset. And it's
Mhm.
like there's no way something good's going to come out of my brain because it's all jumbled. But when you're given a guideline, a framework where it's like, okay, just talk about this, then it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So
Right.
put that message into the different organized buckets that's predetermined for you, and then you string them together. And now you have, maybe it's not the best talk you'll ever give. The best talk you'll ever give is the one you just gave. The worst talk you'll ever give is probably the one you give for the first time in your life. And that's just how we all, our first step is not our best step. That's just how we roll. But each one of the talks will build confidence for you. And so having clarity around how you're structuring your message and your talk is a big part of it.
Can
But I
you
think
give
you have
us
to
a
be
little?
problem focused, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
the key is we try to think all the time that we have to go in and like have this perfect spill, and you don't. As long as you focus on their problem and you focus on the 80-20 rule, which we talk about this all the time on our calls of like, you should be letting them talk 80% of the time and you're listening and you add value to where you're helping solve their problem. then it becomes so much easier to kind of move those conversations where you want them to go versus you feeling that awkward, like, I got to fill this conversation with something, right? Like, you
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
Yeah, let them talk about, and you can say, hey, if we're staying in the bookkeeping space, is like, do you have a business? Yes. Are you happy with your bookkeeper? Chances are they're gonna say no.
Exactly. Right. Right. I
And I
love
said,
that.
oh, tell me more.
I mean, because you could even start with something like, I mean, do you have a bookkeeper? Do you feel confident about your numbers right now? Like, if not, I'm happy for us to chat later. No pressure. You know, you can
Yeah,
kind of just play off with that. It
yeah,
doesn't need to be that you have this perfect spill at all.
exactly.
I
Mhm.
personally, I know that Dolores, you've heard me talk about tacos and tequila. Emily and I have talked about tacos and tequila, but it's always about like if you can envision sitting there talking to someone and you're okay having a meal with them, that's the conversation that should be, it should just go flowy. So whether you're at an event and it still should be flowing, it shouldn't feel awkward like you're standing there going, what do I say now? Like
Yeah.
it should just be very conversational. And again, just ask is I always start with, well, tell me what it is that you do. Tell me about your business. Cause then that prompts me to be able to ask questions later versus it feeling weird. Like I'm just standing there, with
Yeah.
a drink in my hand, not have anything to say. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Emily, you got any other questions? I know I'd love to get, if we can, get Dolores to talk a little bit about marketing too, because I know one of the companies that you've acquired and that you run is a marketing agency. And I think a lot of the times, whether it's not just going to a live event, but it's about how to market ourselves just in general, especially as bookkeepers. Like, can we pick your brain, Dolores, for a minute and you tell us what you think that we should be doing out there to really market ourselves to our fullest capacity and really
Yes.
to be able to shine in front of all the other bookkeepers, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. We actually just released a 2026 marketing playbook because I think marketing first is a big word and it's changed a lot in the last couple of years. But the truth is, it hasn't really changed as much as the execution of it has changed. So just so that we are all on the same kind of on the same page, what is marketing? Pretend you're having a party. You want to host a backyard party and it's summer. Marketing is the act of sending invitations, following up on the invitations, and making sure that the people that you want to come know about it, confirm that they're coming, and eventually show up. So just like that, marketing is the act of creating an experience for strangers to become your clients. We call that customer journey. So that's the first step. Understand your customer journey. Someone's a stranger, now they became a client. What happened in the middle? And so what our responsibility is to when we understand that and understand that there's phases is we attract, and I don't say we go hunt, we attract, because
Mm.
attraction marketing is much easier than go hunting for clients marketing, meaning we become magnetic, we attract, we capture their attention, we nurture their relationship, we convert into a client, and we retain. Those are like in broad strokes, those are the phases of marketing. And so for each one of those phases, there's different things one can do. And so one of the things that we do in our marketing playbook is we give like almost like a menu. It's like of all the things you could do to attract clients, which ones do you want to focus on, let's say in Q1? And so you could be going to events, you could be going to a BNIs and networking. That's like, organic, easy. You could be, if you're a big social media person and you have a lot of followers, you can feed into that and make sure that there's a way that that attention gets captured. You can speak at events. You can call all of your clients. Let's say you have 5 clients. Each one of those 5 clients could probably give you 2 clients. So if you
Mhm.
simply call your 5 clients and say, hey, I have room for 2 more clients this quarter or whatever, and you maybe you give them a bunch of flowers or you give them a commission. But if you have 5 clients and each of them can give you two, that's 5 plus 10. That's a potential of growing from 5 clients to 15 clients just by asking them for referrals.
Right.
Um, And that's a way to attract clients. So you can go fancy and complex, or you can just go door to door and leave your card on the door. Like there's all kinds of ways to do it, but what you cannot do is not do something, because otherwise nobody knows you're there. It's like you're hosting a party and you never send an invitation. And once you have people come to you for whatever way they do it, then it's your job to capture their information. I always say, what is the best outcome of a good first date?
Get a second date.
Get a second date. And Deanna and I are very young chickens, but when we were dating, we didn't have social media. And so if you went on a great first date and neither one of the people in the date asked for the other person's phone number, the chances of a second date was 0. And so when you have a good first date, make sure you exchange contact information. And I always say, if you're a business owner and you want to be intentional, make sure you don't give your contact information. Make sure you get theirs. Why is that? Because if you give your information, then you sit at home hoping, oh, one day someone will call me. But if you get theirs, you are in control and you will call them.
That's such a good thought, because we're so trained. Make business cards, take them out, pass them out. But what are they going to do with it when you get theirs?
So you just say, I forgot my business card. So you take theirs.
Yeah, the other thing too is, and I've started doing this myself at my own when I go travel, like go to the Chamber of Commerce, I'll say, "What's your phone number right now?" And then I type it in, and then I take a photo of me and that person. I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna text you our picture so that it remembers what we talked about," and I send it while I'm literally right there, and they're like, "Oh, this is Deanna. Hey, Carrie," and I'm looking here with Carrie. "Hey, this is Deanna. Great chatting. Let's chat next week. We'll talk about some great opportunities together." Boom. And while I'm standing right there with this person, we're taking a photo and I'm sending that, they're getting that. And then I go back through the following couple days later and I go back to all the people I did that and I do follow up. But it's really good because then when the text comes back through, like, "Hey, Carrie, it was great seeing you on Thursday," they see the picture of us together and it reminds them, "Oh, yeah, we chatted about this at that chamber event," So I've made a really good point to trying really hard to do that more frequently so that it forces me to get my picture in front of them when we're texting back and forth.
Yeah. And so really you have to commit to what are the 1 or 2 things I will do consistently, and that's a keyword. Well, anything in marketing that you do once will never work. I'm going to say that again.
We should say that again. Go ahead, Dolores.
Anything in marketing or dieting that you do, or like health wellness that you do once will never work. If you go to Pilates once in your life, you're never going to get the body of your dream. If you send a postcard or put an ad once in your life, you're never going to get clients. It's about repetition and consistency. And so pick 1 or 2 things that you say, I'm going to do this for the whole Q1. And then after 3 months of consistently doing something, then you can assess, okay, what worked and what didn't, right? But pick 1 or 2 things that you're going to do this quarter to attract clients. Then pick one way that you're going to capture that information. It could be manual, but just be intentional. And then pick 1 or 2 things you're going to do to keep that relationship. What's the goal of a good first date? You gotta keep that flame going. How do we keep that flame going? With clients is you add value. You send them newsletters or you send them a quick message or whatever. You keep checking in. And then by the time they get on a sales call with you, they remember you. They've been nurtured by you. Really, it's more of a conversation like, let's now pinpoint my problem. Let's pinpoint how you can help me. And what does that look like engagement-wise?
It's very good. I love that.
I have so many questions I could ask just based off of that. I love it. I love how simple those ideas are. So I think the next stage where, people are starting to get comfortable having conversations and maybe they want to start creating content. They want to send out newsletters. They want to do some email campaigns or even social media campaigns. We hear a lot of people start to then overthink. Well, what do I post? What do I write? How do I do it? And then instead of just posting, right? So I'd love to know, what are your thoughts on some simple ways that people can stop overthinking things and take a little bit of action when it comes to their content marketing?
Well, first of all, we live in 2026. Like, none of us is creating content from scratch anymore. You're like, hey, good morning, friend Chad. I am stuck this morning. I am a bookkeeper. I have no idea what to write. Give me 5 fun ideas, and it is cold outside. And trust me, you're going to get inspiration. So, first of all, there is no excuse for lack of ideas because we don't even have to use our brain anymore. But let's say that that doesn't feel authentic, and we can talk about that as well. Then think about why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you wake up on this Monday morning to be a bookkeeper or a speaker coach? Like, what is it that brought you to this place? And you can say, well, because I want to stay home and well, I have my kids. Talk about that. People love stories. Doesn't matter what story. And so you can wake up and say, hey, I am so happy and grateful. It's Monday morning. I just dropped my kids to school. I'm sitting with a cup of coffee and I am so excited to be going over the books of my client. And you know what my client does? My client is a spa that is changing women's lives through their face, something. And I get to be part of that transformation because I clean their books and make them stay in business.
It's a
You
bomb
make it
drop.
sound so simple.
I know.
It's like, why aren't we
Feel it.
doing anything?
Well, here's the thing. And this is what is getting in the way. Is people think that if they are in business, they cannot be fun. So I will always say to my clients, find the fun, the productivity is right behind it.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that before. I love that.
But
I
I
love
think
that idea.
I think the other thing that you keep coming back to is how basic this is, and we just got to get back to the basics, right? Like, don't
Exactly.
overthink it. I think we tend to think that marketing needs to be this big, huge thing, and you keep saying, go back to the basics, go back to the basics, do it. And I think we just need to really, people need to pay attention to its repetition. Emily, you've said this so many times about getting your reps in, just doing it over and over again. But Dolores, what you're saying is just do what makes you comfortable. You don't have to be uncomfortable when you're doing it. So do what, and when you do it, you do it repeatedly and do it over and over again and be consistent with it. And then just make sure that it's fun, because the more fun you have, the more you're going to want to keep doing it. Right. So I think that's the
yeah.
key.
And here's the thing, Dee, is that, when you're starting a business, so I always say in life, always pick one heart at a time. So let's say you're starting your business. That's your heart. That's your place of stretch. Like we humans live in a bubble of our comfort zone. You've heard that before, but I say, we will work towards the edge of our resiliency, right? And so when you're starting a new business, that is the place of fear or hesitation or trying. That is the stretching that you're doing. So if you are doing that, then everything else, find it in a way that is comfortable for you. Because if you make everything that you do about starting a business hard and uncomfortable, you're never going to get anywhere. That's what I started by saying, what comes easy to you? And so about relationship with people. And you can say none. Okay, that can be hard, but let's find one thing that is the least uncomfortable. That's what I always, people come to me and they're asking for marketing advice. And a lot of agencies will say, well, this is the way to do it. I've been around the corner a few times. I know that if I impose a strategy on a client without first listening to them and understanding how they're wired, that's why I'm a leadership coach first, a strategist second. If I don't listen to my client and understand who they are, do personality tests and really understand how they're wired, if I don't do that first, I will probably impose a strategy that is not sustainable. Nothing that is not fun, that is not somehow achievable or comfortable for you will actually sustain it in time. It's almost like saying, I want to lose weight, so I'm going to start running, but I hate running with all my life. How long will you run? Maybe you'll lose the 10 pounds. But the moment you lose the 10 pounds, you're never going to run again in your life because you hated it in the first place.
Dolores, you're talking about me. Stop talking about Emily. This is uncomfortable. I'm just telling you.
Like, find the way that is authentic to you, because then they'll, then it's not only sustainable, people will relate. Like, I love people. I love being in conversation with people. I love exchanging ideas. I love an intellectual interaction with humans. That's why I'm in this podcast, because this is just my fun having a tea with friends part of the day. This is not effort. I'll do this all day long.
What I love the most too is that, you are a female entrepreneur that came in and you've raised your kids, you work from home, you've built your businesses from home, and nothing stops you. I mean, I just
1998.
see, but you were just a force to be reckoned with. And I just think that's so amazing. For everyone that's listening, what are some final things that you could think that you could give as tips that are like, don't be afraid. 'Cause here's what I have seen. People think of home businesses and they think, oh, that's not a real business. And I'm like, it absolutely is. It's an amazing opportunity to run an in-home business and have that financial freedom. So what can you speak to those people that are like, I'm just now thinking about running, starting my own in-home business, or I'm just getting started and I'm scared. Like, what would you tell them, because you are so successful with all the businesses that you have started in your home, still had your kids, raised your kids, and you've got beautiful adult children now, and you travel like nobody's business. You're always traveling, and that does not stop you. So like, what would you tell that person? Because you are a great example of having it all.
So first of all, as a parent, I always say that I was a full-time mom and a full-time professional. I have 4 kids. My husband is a mathematician, and he says that math doesn't compute. And I'll say it absolutely computes, because I was the perfect amount of mother that I wanted to be. Not one more, not one moment more. And I was a perfect amount of professionals. That's number one. So entrepreneurship, owning your own business, is the best way to eat your what is it? Bake your cake and eat it too, right?
Yep.
Second, I was fortunate enough to be able to work from home since 98, and I was working for a company. 98, half of you were not born, and there was no Google almost. There was nothing. There was no Zoom. There was none of it. But someone wanted to hire me and I wasn't gonna move. So I said, well, gonna do it on the phone. So finding the balance of running your business from home, it's just a choice, and it's a decision. But the other thing I would say is, I am a mom of 4. My kids are grown now. But in 2016, I was a full-time mom of 4 and a part-time entrepreneur when my husband had an issue with his job, and I replaced his income in 30 days because I was well set up. I was well set up for it. What was it hard? Yes. Did it require a lot of tears? Yes. Was there a lot of self-doubt? Yes. Did I have that thought like, I work from home, I can't scale my business like a real job? I thought all those thoughts, but I did it anyway because my family needed me to step up. And since then, I've been the main breadwinner of our home. And now it's 2026, and working from home, and even CEO Coca-Cola works from home. So it's like it's no news. But absolutely, can you not only run a big financially profitable business from home, but you could do it with grace while parenting, and also giving your team an amazing experience of how life can be lived. We were not born to suffer. We were born to enjoy life.
I don't know what else we can say about that,
I
Emily.
know, that's so beautiful. I think we all need to adopt that a little bit more. It's all a choice, right? You can choose to suffer. You can choose to, there's going to be difficult things in your business. You're going to be nervous to go talk to people for the first time, but what's worse, being nervous about talking to someone, being nervous about how to build your business, or being unhappy in the life that you have right now, being unhappy, not being able to afford certain things. I think that is just beautiful. We were
I'll
not
say
born to suffer.
one last thing. I don't want to keep you guys, but here's the thing about, and this might be a little spiritual, But one of the biggest gifts of being a business owner has been who I've become because of it. And so all of those things that might be scaring you, I'm talking to our listeners right now, all of those things that might be scaring you, all of those things that you feel like you can't, I want to ask you to ask yourself, what if you could? Who would you become if you give yourself a chance?
Oh, that's beautiful, Dolores. Wow. Thank you
Powerful.
so much again. And Dolores, how do people reach out and find you?
Come to mastersinclarity.com and we have lots of resources there.
Well, everyone, Dolores Hirschman, she's amazing. Dolores, thank you so much for sharing today with us. Man, you've just been, it's just been incredible. I love your spirit. I love watching you over the years. We've been friends on how you've grown so many businesses and just keep adding more because you're acquiring over and over. That is just something that you're a force to be reckoned with, I tell you. And so a lot of people can learn a lot from you. So thank you for sharing today.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Stay at Home Bookkeeper podcast. Remember, your dream business starts with just one simple step. You know, you've got the skills, you've got the drive. Now, go turn that into freedom. We want to see you take action this week. So take action, go out there, really make a difference, and we will see you on the next episode of the Stay at Home Bookkeeper podcast. Emily, any final words?
Yes, we've had a great time today. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to comment down below. You can subscribe on all of the channels where you can listen to podcasts and on YouTube as well. And send us a note. Send us a note if you enjoyed this. Send us a note if you want to hear more about marketing, about mindset, anything involved in entrepreneurship and bookkeeping. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye-bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.